Welcome to another YouTube panel talk. My name is Phil Shapiro. I'm the moderator. Today we have 4 distinguished guests talking about participatory media. We have Bill Keller, executive editor of the New York Times, Leonard Downey Jr., executive editor of the Washington Post, George F. Wondt, syndicated columnist, and Mark Glazer from PBS, the Media Shift blog. Let's start off with you, Bill. What are your ideas about participatory media and the New York Times? Well, at the New York Times, we are constantly reevaluating how we serve the community. Let me just give you an example. Last month, we changed the font on the front page, the date. We changed the size of the font from 10 point to 12 point. And we did that in response to the community need. We had focus groups. We spent $150,000 finding out what kind of font, the size of the font, the community would like best. And after a 6-month investigation, we decided to change that font from 10 point to 12 point. Now, I know there are people who are going to be very upset with that, but that's my job to bring the newspaper into the new age, and that kind of innovation is emblematic of the New York Times, and it shows our concern for meeting the public need. Bill, that's very interesting. Leonard, at the Washington Post, in what ways are you developing participatory media at your newspaper? Thanks for asking, Phil. At the Washington Post, we pride ourselves on being the leading independent newspaper in the country. And our vision is the same as their vision, which means we want more community participation. That's why we are increasing our letters to the editor from 4 letters to the editor per day to 5. Now, it's true, we're going to reduce the length of each letter to 2 sentences or less. But we are going to have 5 letters to the editor each day. It's going to widely expand public participation in the newspaper. And we are proud to be the leading independent newspaper in the country, following them. George F. Wondt, what's your take on this? Well, I think it's just preposterous. It's preposterous that the community wants some participation in the newspaper. I am a paid professional thinker, and we can't have any riffraff coming along sharing their ideas. They're not trained in thinking. Do you know what? Last week I received email from a blogger. And these bloggers, they think that their point of view has some merit. Do you know this blogger who sent me an email? He had a donated computer he got from a refurbisher and set up a free account with one of those AOL CD discs, a dial-up. All of a sudden, he's an Insta-pundit. He's an Insta-pundit. You know what? We need less of this community participation. I'm a paid professional. I have formal training in thinking. And we cannot have any more community participation. I'm aghast at the whole idea. I am aghast at the whole idea of community participation in newspapers. And Mark Glazer over at PBS, what's your take on this? Well, I've always felt that the more listening that people do, that the higher the degree of understanding, and that there are new tools now on the internet that let people listen to one another more. So why not give it a try? Listening to one another, that's new age thinking. You're talking off the top of your head. Have you even considered your thoughts yet? New age thinking like Plato, Aristotle, the dialogues. Bill, Leonard, you going to let this guy talk to me like that? You going to let him talk to me like that? Speaking for the Washington Post, I'd like to just share a personal anecdote that shows the kind of risk-taking we take at the Post. In my condo, there's a large potted plant. And last week, I turned that potted plant 10 degrees, and I knew it would drive my wife nuts to do that. But I'm a risk taker, and I turned that plant, and that is emblematic of the Washington Post. We take risks like that every day. We take risks like that every day. And how about a second question? Bill Keller at the New York Times, what is your view of the long tail? The long tail? Well, the brontosaurus was a majestic creature. And Leonard Downey Jr., what's your view of the long tail? The long tail? Well, the Greek epic story is one of the most cherished traditions in storytelling, and we need to value that much, much more than we do. George F. Won't, what do you think about the long tail? When I think of the long tail, I think of the European monarchs and their weddings where the bride had such a long trail. And you know what? We need to get back to that. We need more monarchs. We need more peasants. Mark Glaser, the long tail. The long tail is just a fascinating paradigm shift in the production and consumption of creative media, where in the past there was just a few large companies spending lots of money making large productions that required large audiences to break even. And in the future, we're going to have many more voices making much more media, and that's why we're going to have a long tail. The long tail is a fascinating development. It brings more voices to the table. It assists in the creation of social cohesion, and it's changing the way people think about themselves. How would you characterize the essence of the news business? We at the New York Times envision our business as being a conversation between ourselves, our advertisers, and ourselves. At the Washington Post, our highest purpose is to produce news for ourselves. At PBS, we see ourselves as catalysts in the marketplace of ideas, both participants and reactors to the chemical reactions happening in news today. My name is George F. Won't, and I just won't. Well, we've heard a wide range of views today, and I'd like to thank all four of our guests. Until next time, YouTube Panel Talk, this is Phil Shapiro.